Well, welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to extremely excitedly create this exceptional E. We are going to create this easy E and we're going to make the variable awesome. All right, enough with the terrible puns. Um, we're going to create this E shape. Again, we're using variables. The line tool is the tool that we're going to create our outline shape with. First thing I'm going to do is, of course, just using the line tool, do my best to copy the shape that I see. I'm going to make sure I apply vertical and horizontal constraints to my various components and put it all together. And once I get it all together, as I have here, and I've got a closed entity, you know it's closed when it turns light blue. I can go ahead and start pushing and pulling on things and seeing how they behave. Now you can see that this inside component slides the way it's supposed to. That looks good. These are aligned with each other. The left-hand corner here only goes up and down. It doesn't have no angles, so pretty happy with that. One thing I'm not so excited about right now is you can see that the top of the E and the bottom of the E don't line up with each other. So I'm going to use my vertical constraint by either clicking the vertical constraint from the constraints drop-down menu up top, or tap the letter V on your keyboard, and then click the points. Click a point on each line that I would like to align vertically with each other. So click that point and that point. If I just click the line itself, it just says, hey, that line is going to be vertical. So that doesn't work. So I need to make sure that I click points along those lines to line up vertically with each other. So that takes care of that. Next thing I take a look at is, let's see, I am given some dimensions. So I'm given the height here. So I'll go ahead and put that on. That's telling me that's a thickness variable times 5. Remember, you can find the variables by hitting shift and number 3. Get your number key or pound sign, hashtag, and you'll see the full list of variables. You can choose your variables from the list. And now if I were just to hit enter right now, that would make it the thickness variable, which is currently set at 15. But I want it to be thickness times 5. So you see star 5. So asterisk key 5. So thickness times 5, hit enter, and that will make the variable, make that 75, because 15 times 5 is 75. Now you probably just saw me notice I really quickly jumped to full size here. That's using the F key is a shortcut for fit to window or fit to screen. It saves a considerable amount of time when working on your documents. All right, so there you go. So there's my height, excuse me, is 75, or thickness times 5. Let's do it. Do my, let's see a 1 times thickness here and a 1 times thickness there. So it's just stated, it's just the variable, so thickness. Also, I mentioned earlier that you can just hit the hashtag symbol and then it'll give you a list. If you know the name of the variable that you created it, so you should know. You just begin typing that name, and if it's highlighted in blue, you just tap the enter key twice, and that'll apply that for you. So in this case, just hit T, enter, and the rules are applied. And up here, it's 3 times T. All right, and it doesn't matter whether you type variable times whatever you're multiplying by, or whether you're making switch your multiplication factor like 5 times 3. So it's like 5 times thickness or thickness times 5, same. The computer doesn't care. So now I'm getting pretty darn close here. I've used up all of the variables, all the dimensions that are provided. So now I got to figure out what is it I can do to finish constraining this. Let's see. Looks like we have a symmetric part top to bottom. Looks like the top is equal to the bottom. Looks like this is center in the middle. So if the top and the bottom are equal to each other, that's where I like to pull up my favorite constraint, the key equal, like that line equal to that line. Control Z that, it works. So I'm going to hit the, again, E, this line equal to this line. Now, if something goes, if you try something and you don't like it, doesn't work out, that's where the Control Z function is your superpower. That's undo. That's the quickest way to get undo. You can also hit the back button up here, but I like the Control Z button. All right. Back to continuing with my sketch here. So let's see, this is obviously way too squishy, and right now it's way too wide. Well, according to this, it looks like they are the same length. So again, we'll make that two lines equal in length to each other. And here we have it. That looks pretty good. Now that's holding to be the same size. That looks good, but it's not centered. There's a couple different ways to go about centering this. I can line the midpoint of this line up with the midpoint of this line by applying a point, or I can make these two spaces equal. We've already used the equal constraint, so just for demonstration purpose, we'll go ahead and grab that midpoint. So what I'm going to do, I'll come over here and find the midpoint of that line. You can see that the line with a dot in the middle, that's the midpoint constraint symbol. Over here, find the line with the dot in the middle. That might take a few seconds to move up and down real slowly. Just move real slow until you see that. There it is. Click and release. Now I want to move those till they are aligned with each other horizontally, and now they are. You can see that because there's a yellow dot, the yellow dotted line. Release, and now you can see everything is constrained except for the length of this little tab in the middle. Let's see. You're kind of having to guess here. Either this length and this length are equal, or this length is at the middle of that. I'm going to go with it's lined up in the middle. Be aware, though, that if you drag that up, if you grab this dot and bring it up and let go when you see the midpoint, everything's going to turn red. It's going to tell you it's oops, because you're trying to get this line, this line to be coincident with that midpoint. You can see that we'll get this midpoint constraint showing up. So we don't want that. We want them to be aligned with the midpoint. So I'm going to pull this back and forth, put my mouse up here, I'm going to bring the mouse back down so that I see the vertical yellow line. That's what I let go. And that's how you do that. So good luck, have fun, and as always, keep being awesome.